Welcome to Chapter 2, the George Clooney chapter. If you'd like to follow along in the novel, it can be found at my website, stopthetabloids.com. While you're there, check out my art and other creative works. Remember, when George pops up, I'm speaking his thoughts. With that, Chapter 4. Though safe and sound within the spacious confines of his one-time Studio City bachelor pad extraordinaire, George knew once he kicked over his custom Harley Davidson 1200 Fat Boy, the paparazzi would be licking their chops like vultures at a roadkill smorgasbord. When he let it, it bugged the shit out of him that one George Clooney photo, some random moment among a million others, could put food on the table for some low-life paparazzi dickwad. He knew himself as a great humanitarian, but those well wishes are only for those who deserve it. Starve the paparazzi bastards. He revs the Harley to 3,000 RPM, its thundering roar announcing its departure. He knows the paparazzi are out there, but he also knows he'll never back down. Not gonna happen. If they're gonna try and steal one iota of his grand life, he's building bunkers to defend it. He liked how ABC matriarch Diane Sawyer so eloquently put it when she reported on his stern reaction when the paparazzi almost ran him, his gal, and his Harley off the road. Righteous indignation, she called it. A freaking men, Diane. If the paparazzi are annoying pests, then supermarket tabloids are the bubonic plague. For George, there's always been a greater issue than whether they steal his pearly whites and charming smile to hawk some cheap rags. When it comes right down to it, what really chaps his ass, what makes him grit his teeth and question his own pacifism, is how the tabloids pervert the truth. Yeah, that truth. Suckled from birth, and then carried along in the wake of his newsman dad, truth, and its comrade in arms, the fight for justice, is coded deep in his genes. To him, Thoreau said it best, rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth. He remembers sitting in the grocery cart while his mom bought their daily bread and seeing the sensationalized headlines of the tabloids. At an early age, he somehow knew this wasn't the truth. If there's no truth, then everything will fall, his young, impressionable mind told him. I know. What's with the air quotes around truth? He used to laugh at himself when he first started using them, but after years of perfecting his truth manifesto, in short, truth is God, it has now become second nature, like referees throwing up their hands after a touchdown. Yeah, just like that. Air quotes meant intensity, conviction, and passion, the necessary ingredients of truth. Truth deserved more than mere words, hence the air quotes. At one point, he thought about changing the air quotes to a pointer finger exclamation mark, but decided it was too cheesy. Dropping the Harley into first gear, he feels powerful and strong like a satellite rocket with a full payload. But, like any good acting, image can portray the truth. He fully knows truth as a double-edged sword it is. Truth that can set one free, truth that can tether one to the past. No one would ever know this is where he feels the quiet gnawing of his heart, the trembling voice that wants to shout out his truth to the world. Hey, I'm a people too. Just because I'm a gazillionaire, sexiest man in the universe superstar doesn't mean I don't hurt. This old heart has been broken. Cut me, I bleed. That's the truth. There was another truth, one with a crueler fate, the truth of what could have been. Especially painful were acts involving the innocence of youth, anything up to age 40, when the tarnishing of a transparent heart packs an extra punch. Yeah, he may have been on the giving end of a few of those acts, but this isn't what this is about. Acts happening to me. In the quiet of his mind, he dare call them transgressions, only because open heart surgery with a dull pickaxe hits too close to home. Truth causes the sweet memories remembered to turn to deadly poison, one which there seems to be no antidote. Clapping down like a coil spring-leg trap on a hapless forest mink, he stuffs his vulnerability back where it belongs. Best keep that cage good and locked. Besides, that was then. This is now. Then is water under the bridge. As a source of pride, George had semi-successfully stayed out of the tabloid camera lens since he put a kibosh on his involvement with tabloid-type news shows back during the '92 hard copy boycott. Sure, there were times when he saw himself on the tabloids, but only in the little side boxes with the absurd titles, Clooney to run for governor. No big George Clooney face on the tabloid cover for the world to see. In fact, he was ready to ride off into the sunset without having to stage a final tabloid gunfight. Then she came along. Amal. For all the bedazzling rubies and sapphires and emeralds George beheld, Amal Alamuddin proved to be his hope diamond. Amal means hope. Brilliant and beautiful, enchanting and winsome, the world quickly fell in love with the future Mrs. George Clooney. That is, except the millions upon millions of single and many married women who instead donned sackcloths and ashes and beat their breasts in mourning. The universe's most eligible bachelor had finally been caught in true love's snare. Mr. and Mrs. Clooney hadn't even broken in their wedding china when the tabloids attacked. Shotgun wedding. Gold digger. It's over. After 87 days. $200 million divorce. Throw in the pre-wedding brouhaha that incited George to write an op-ed calling out the Daily Mail, stinking limeys, for their report on trouble brewing between him and his future mom-in-law, and the newlyweds were off to a rocky tabloid start. Though it was rare that George ever responded to tabloids, he felt his fist clenching tighter the more he saw Amal's face, and his own, at the newsstand. Not that his new bride needed protecting. Barrister Alamuddin routinely hands corrupt governments their asses in international court. She can handle a little celebrity gossip. But, as the consummate gentleman he is, George is always ready to throw himself on the tabloid hand grenade. Amal is his beloved wife, the one he has waited many years to find, the only one he'll ever have. And that's the truth. But even with the formidable George Clooney basking in marriage bliss, with a future as bright as his past, a familiar black cloud looms on the horizon. Catalina, Catalina, Catalina. He was sure his new life would give way to clear skies, and he'd be basking in the sun till the end of his days. Ancient history. Water under the bridge. Let bygones be bygones. Then why are you still thinking about it? Unfortunately, that's also the truth. As the Harley-Davidson liftoff counts down to 0, the gold invitation tucked in the inner pocket of his leather riding jacket, George revels in the idea of not knowing what lies in front of him. Surprise is a rare commodity when you've lived the life of George Clooney. As he barrels down the flagstone driveway towards the massive remote-controlled front gates, the paparazzi lenses focus in on their meal ticket. George Clooney is a sitting duck, they think. What they don't know is that this duck is about to fly. Suddenly, George veers to the right, barrels through the perfectly manicured hedge, and races down the rolling lawn, tearing up sod as he goes. Where the height of the 6-foot stucco wall is just low enough, he hits a sharp incline and soars into the air. Time slowing for a money shot. He flips the paparazzi the bird, emphatically. Even with one hand on the handlebars, he hits a perfect landing. The paparazzi try and reverse course to go after him, but they can only listen to the roar of the Harley and George's laughter as he speeds away.